On today's episode, we are talking F&O trading. So what kind of returns have you made?
So CAGR would be about...
So that is definitely an alpha level trader. Now tell me, what is the magic sauce?
So मेरा सजेशन सबको ये रहता है यार कि F&O इतनी जल्दी मत आओ.
इतनी जल्दी मतलब?
बिल्कुल भी मत आओ. इंडियन स्टॉक मार्केट्स इज लाइक अ स्प्रिंग. उसे आप उस स्प्रिंग को जितना ज्यादा दबाओगे वो उतना ऊपर उछल के आएगा. जब वो दब रहा है और उस पर्टिकुलर टाइम पे अगर आप पैनिक सेलिंग कर गए एंड यू विल नॉट वांट टू रिटर्न इनटू द मार्केट अनलेस यू अगेन स्टार्ट फीलिंग द फोमो. जब वो स्प्रिंग वापस ऊपर जा चुका है तो आप इस मार्केट से कभी पैसा नहीं बना सकते.
So if I have 10 lakhs of savings, I'm making 1 lakh rupees per month. How much should I start investing in F&O trading?
I would say there's a very famous saying, the average investors book profits, the great investors books losses. Hope over data is the biggest reason why people lose a lot of money in the markets. यार स्टॉक मार्केट्स की यही एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है इनफैक्ट इंडिया में. 21 दिन में पैसा डबल हर एक करने यहाँ पे आता है. बॉस वो सिर्फ मूवीज में होता है.
So let's answer that question. What is the realistic time for doubling money?
I would like...
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the 1% Club Show. On today's episode, we are talking F&O trading. Think of today's episode as a free masterclass on how to do futures and options trading. And the guest of today is Mr. Pranit Arora, who is the CEO of one of India's largest stock research company. Pranit, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sharan.
Can you just explain to us who is actually making money in this F&O trading segment in India?
So, if you look at who are actually making money, one is definitely the institutions, right? So these foreign institutional investors, if you talk about the FPIs you talk about, or the prop trading firms you talk about, the prop trading firms like, for example, if you talk about be it Futures First, be it Tar Research, be it Graviton, these kind of companies are making shitloads of money in the market.
How much are they making?
Okay, so I'll not name the company.
Sure.
One of my college juniors is working in that particular company and he's heading the Southeast Asia division for the crypto markets.
Okay.
Last year, their return was about 192%.
Wow. Okay.
And last year is what I've been told is 134%. But to be clear that it's not a fact which I've verified personally, but it's coming from a source which is a very dear friend of mine, and I assume that he won't be lying.
Amazing. So what about you? What kind of returns have you made? You said you've been investing for the last 15 years.
That's correct.
In the F&O market, right?
Correct.
Right. So what kind of returns have you made in your portfolio?
So I've been trading into F&O markets. I've been investing. I've been doing both, a mix of both, depending on the kind of markets it is. What I can tell you is that I've made a decent amount of returns.
Decent, I know, Pranit. Come on, I want numbers. Come on. What is decent?
So I think,
decent is 15% returns.
No, so definitely upwards of that.
So that is what
I can tell you. But I can tell you a couple of stories from my
first tell me the
journey.
CAGR. No, what you've.
So CAGR would be about.
Wow, you achieved 30 returns in the last 15 years, like
not
year
15.
on year.
I would say that since 2016, that would be the kind of CAGR which I would be
35% CAGR.
34 to 35%.
Wow.
Approximately.
Okay, so that is definitely an alpha level trader. You're that 0.1% of people in India who's actually making money in the F&O trading, right? So now tell me, kaise karte ho? What is the magic sauce? How do you do it? And when you answer this question, maybe we can start off with understanding, let's say if you have a 10 lakh portfolio today, which is what an average viewer over here would be looking at, right? How do they start about getting into the F&O market? And can you go as deep as possible? Yeah.
Okay. So, सबसे पहली चीज मेरा सजेशन सबको ये रहता है यार कि F&O इतनी जल्दी मत आओ.
इतनी जल्दी मतलब?
बिल्कुल भी मत आओ.
But when you have 10 lakhs of savings, मत आओ.
120%. It's like saying कि you are asked to write an essay and you don't even know the alphabets.
Achha.
Right? So until and unless you know the ABCD of things, unless and until you start understanding that from A you can create apple, from B you can create ball, and so on and so forth, unless and until you understand the grammatical part of it, that for example Pranit is buying a ball for her daughter. So unless and until you don't understand forming sentences through that, don't directly jump to making an essay right from day one.
So you're saying it's not about how much savings you have. You're saying first try to understand the knowledge before
100%.
getting into it. Okay.
100%. Like, since you talked about the research firm Univest, right? So we keep on getting calls from the customers who keeps on saying ki yaar, Nifty was looking very bullish. So I bought this particular stock का option, call option हमने खरीद लिया था. आज सवेरे stock तो बढ़ा हुआ 2%, लेकिन call option तो नीचे है. अब क्या करूँ मैं? Now the problem is that you don't understand the theta decays, you don't understand gamma, you don't understand the intrinsic values of a particular script. If you don't understand all of this and you're thinking about trading in options, you will definitely lose money. And that is what the advantage most of the prop trading firms or the experienced traders take care of, right? They are the ones who are actually making money because somebody else is losing money.
Absolutely. So that's the beautiful or the bad part about this F&O thing is that not everybody makes money. It's impossible for everyone to make money. 100%. It's a zero-sum game.
That's correct.
What are the things that you do? What are the strategies that you do which allows you to sort of make insane amounts of money? Like you said, % CAGR. What are the strategies that you do which other people are not able to do?
See, if I start telling my strategies, I mean, I will not be once among those 0.1%. But what I can tell you is that...
You're saying those are secrets?
I mean, some of them are definitely ones. I mean, I won't deny that, जो आप normal influencers कई बार आपको TV पे आके ये वाली strategy बता दी कि election day strategy ये है. These are majorly for the views which people are doing.
Correct.
Right? But a lot has to be seen in the market. You do not even know. I am truly shocked to see a lot of influencers coming out in the market जो कि SEBI registered भी नहीं होते and still they talk about कि यार 15 दिन पहले election day से पहले आप ये काम कर लेना तो आपके पैसे बन जाएंगे.
हाँ, I've seen those many videos.
This is all bullshit. You don't even know एक दिन पहले की market situation क्या है. Right? So you have to adapt to that kind of a market and then you apply the right strategy as per that. What I can tell you is the basics understanding which a person needs to have before entering into option trading, which I have learned. Number one is position sizing is very, very critical.
What does that mean?
Position sizing is...
we are talking to 25-year-old people over here who have just maybe started investing in mutual funds. They just learned what is mutual fund. That's it. So you are addressing that kind of an audience. So position sizing, we need to explain.
Okay, fair enough. So I think सबसे पहली चीज़ है म्यूचुअल फंड्स. अगर आपने मुझे ऑडियंस के बारे में बताया, सो इट्स लाइक यू हैव टू फर्स्ट डाइवर्सिफाई योर मनी ऑब्वियसली अक्रॉस डिफरेंट एसेट क्लासेस, राइट?
करेक्ट.
सो फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आपका म्यूचुअल फंड्स में कुछ पोर्टफोलियो है, कुछ डायरेक्ट इक्विटीज़ में है, कुछ एफडी में है, कुछ रियल एस्टेट में है, अगर डायरेक्ट इक्विटीज़ के बाद कुछ एफएनओ के लिए आपने अलग पार्ट किया हुआ है, सो बेसिस योर ओन रिस्क प्रोफाइलिंग, बेसिस योर ओन रिस्क एपेटाइट, यू शुड बी सिलेक्टिंग कि मुझे कितना पैसा पार्क करना है उस पर्टिकुलर एफएनओ सेगमेंट के लिए.
ओके.
वंस यू हैव पार्क दैट मनी बेसिस योर ओन रिस्क प्रोफाइल.
वो कैसे डिसाइड करते हैं?
So risk profile, I mean, to each his own. But at the same time, for example, for me, I look at how do I diversify? I take care of 4 factors into consideration. Number 1 is my own personal risk profile. कि मैं risk taking हूँ या नहीं, इतना ज़्यादा ले सकता हूँ या नहीं. Now that depends on my own financial goals. That is the second part of it. For example, am I happy with the 7-8% year on year? Right? If that is the case, I don't even need to go to option trading. Right? I would rather go for some small finance banks, FDs only, where I would buy certain bonds or ETFs, or I would rather invest in gold where I can get this much amount of return. But I am probably not happy with that kind of return. So if I higher the risk, higher the return. If I am aiming for 30-35%, of course I have to be very highly from the risk perspective also.
Correct.
Now that is one, right? So risk profiling is first. Second is your own financial goals, that what are you looking at? Is it 30%, 20%, 40%? What is the number you are aiming for? Third is your liquidity needs. Now, when I talk about the liquidity needs, for example, I say that if you are entering into stock markets, अगर आपको जो पैसा 3 साल से पहले चाहिए, do not put that money in stocks. The experienced investors in the stock market says कि यार लंबे टाइम के लिए आप इन्वेस्ट करो. So मैं stock markets के लिए that is the third most important thing. Right? So I think these are the 3 major critical things. And finally, one thing is your basis this, all the asset allocation, diversification, everything gets decided.
So let's say, for example, I understood this, right? This is like the theoretical knowledge, right?
Correct.
So now let us say I am a person earning 1 lakh rupees per month.
Okay.
I have 10 lakhs of savings with me where I've
Okay.
been working for the last 5 years.
Okay.
I have no financial obligations. I don't have to send money home, right? I have no short-term requirements, no medical emergencies, nothing.
Okay.
My entire goal is wealth creation.
Okay.
So if I have 10 lakhs of savings, I'm making 1 lakh rupees per month. How much should I start investing in F&O trading?
Got it. F&O trading, unless and until you are not learning, I would say zero.
Okay.
Right?
When you mean learning, like what is learning?
When I say learning, I means the basic principles of option trading and futures trading.
Okay.
फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर आज की डेट में आपको मैं पूछूं कि गामा क्या होता है, इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू क्या होती है किसी पर्टिकुलर स्टॉक की, अगर आपसे पूछूं थीटा डीके क्या होता है, अगर आप ये बेसिक टर्मिनोलॉजीज नहीं समझते और आपको लग रहा है कि आप कॉल या कौन से स्ट्राइक प्राइस की मुझे कोई कॉल या पुट खरीदनी है एट व्हाट पॉइंट इन मार्केट, if you do not understand all of this, you should not enter into F&O. Beat the best of research analyst who is giving you the advice. I am myself being a research analyst and I am telling you ki do not buy my plans. If you think that you do not know F&O, please do not buy my F&O plans because it is in favor of you only. So coming back to your question of 10 lakhs, let's break it down कि अगर मेरी कोई liability
before you get into that,
yes.
Typically how much time does it take for me to learn all these things before I can start getting into F&O?
In my opinion, I think it is like learn, implement on paper trade, learn, implement on paper trade, and paper trading is much more easier than when you actually perform in markets. But at the same time, at least it gives you a flavor. So I think a 3-month to 6-month kind of basic understanding of this, implementing in paper trading again and again.
Paper trading कैसे करते हैं?
So paper trading, there are a lot of platforms out there in the markets where you can just test your strategies, wherein you can test your strategies, put in the कि आपने क्या चीज buy करनी है, क्या चीज sell करनी है.
This is with the virtual money.
That is correct. In the virtual money, you can clearly see कि कितना % returns ऊपर नीचे हुआ, and you can just check कि आपको कितना profit या loss होता अगर आप वो strategy implement.
So let us say I did this 3 to 6 months of studying.
Correct.
And now I'm getting to finally start investing.
Okay.
Now you tell me 10 lakhs of savings. How much should I put into F&O?
Okay. So how I would like to put it, let's say if I have learned and I am putting it on myself, this is not a suggestion again to anyone else. But how I would like to do is कि यार मेरे पास short term needs बहुत ज़्यादा है नहीं और मेरे पास liquid money 1 लाख रुपीस में month का कमाता हूँ. So मेरी liquid needs जो month की होती हैं वो already cater हो रही हैं. What I would do is 10 lakhs of saving, I would still put 10 to 15% of my money in FDs.
Okay.
For my immediate needs, God forbid if anything arrives, then in that case, I should have some money which is part in debt instruments.
Right.
Right? It's like the normal dal roti or khichdi, which is not very tasty. But at the same time, आपको ज़रूरत के time पे सबसे ज़्यादा वही काम में आती है.
Correct.
Right? So that is one part of the story. Second part of the story is the gold ETFs and all that kind of stuff, right? That I would put at least another 10 to 15% of my money over there as well.
Okay.
Right? It doesn't generate passive incomes per se, but it is the most stable sort of an income which one can actually know because it has a traditional track record. ठीक है, कहीं जा नहीं रहा, tangible asset है. You already have those kind of things. Third is your real estate part. Real estate, of course, in 10 lakhs in India now you cannot do anything.
Yeah.
But if I had a bigger amount, I would have put in at least 15 to 20% there as well.
Got it.
But it is locked for a longer period, much longer than in fact stock markets because वो liquid नहीं होती assets typically. You are lucky if you get liquid in the next 6 months to 9 months. And finally, 40 to 50% of my money will be for stock markets. Okay. For my kind of risk profiling, I would put at least 50% of the money in stock markets or even 60%.
But that also includes mutual funds, right?
Yes, 100%. If you have lesser the knowledge of stock markets, more your allocation towards mutual funds should be. More the knowledge about stock markets, lesser the money on mutual funds and more the money in direct stocks.
But direct stocks के अंदर भी it is again another universe. Like either you directly buy a stock or you buy a derivative of that stock in terms of futures and options.
Correct.
So finally, let's say if I am a very risk-taking investor, finally how much % of my total net worth should be directly in F&O?
Not more than 15 to 20%.
Not more than 15 to 20%.
100%.
So if I have 10 lakh rupees, no matter how great of a trader I think I am, not more than 1.5 lakh should go into
100%.
F&O trade.
1.5 to 2 lakhs is the maximum which you should be deploying if you have 10 lakhs.
If I have 10 lakhs.
100%.
Otherwise, crores like you.
No.
All right. Cool. So now let's go deep dive into some real life examples that you have seen in your own investing journey. And I want to take out some learnings from it, based on your own experience.
Okay.
So can you share any interesting examples of any very, very profitable trades that you have gotten and break down the real psychology of why you actually went ahead and did that trade?
Okay. So I'll take one anecdote from my COVID experience, right? And although COVID was pretty bad, unfortunately, for everyone.
Right.
But the sensible investors made a lot of money out of that.
Like you.
So I was one of the fortunate souls who got an opportunity to tap in the right opportunities at the right time. So I cannot name a company, but I'll tell you that it's a large cap automotive company. All right.
Okay.
And it's a very famous story also that particular company went down from almost 320 levels to almost 60 to 65 rupees levels during COVID.
Okay.
And I went all bonkers in that particular stock.
How much did you invest?
So I invested about 40 odd lakhs in that particular stock.
Like one stock you invested 40
One
lakhs?
stock. And I did not have a lot of money like yourself at that particular point in time. So I invested 40 lakhs and that was a decent sized capital at that point in time.
Okay.
So me and my father, we do the trading and investing together.
Right.
And we exited at about 850 within 3.5-4 years, I think. That is the kind of money we kind of
was
made.
That what, 20x?
Yes, almost 20-25x kind of returns.
40 lakhs became 10 crores.
Yes, so 60, I think, it was 15 or 16x, but we kind of made about, almost 6 to 7 crores from that particular single trade in the matter of 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So give me an example of the worst trade that you ever did where you lost a lot of money. And kya hua tha?
So a lot of money, to be very honest, I mean, during my initial years, which was like, I will not talk about the first 3-4 years of my trading where I have lost money.
Yeah.
But after that, one thing which I realized was that I place very, very strict stop losses on every single trade of mine. Right? And when I am very clear about my own stop losses, तो मैं कभी भी इतने बड़े losses में जाता ही नहीं हूँ. So there's a very famous saying, right? The average investors book profits, the great investors books losses.
Okay.
Right. So it is very important that you cut your losses at a very small length so that you don't have to go too far in a hope that the company will do too well and this particular trade will do well. Doesn't matter.
So you're saying, would you say that this is one of the biggest mistakes that a newbie retail investor
100%.
would do? That they don't know when to cut their losses?
100%. Hope over data is the biggest reason why people lose a lot of money in the markets. In hope that one day this particular trade will work and today I am losing 5%, maybe tomorrow at 5% profit I will cut. People end up losing 50%.
Oh, okay.
That is a very, very big problem. If your data is not suggesting that at 5%, boss, this can go down further, trim your loss to 5%.
So now, when you look at the stats that 93% of people are losing money, the initial response from an average Indian would be like, okay, this is a casino, right? The odds of making money over here is so less, right? It seems like this is an addiction. And if I get into this, I will not be able to come out and I will lose all the money that I have. So what is your response to this? Is this really a casino according to you? Or is there a science and method to the madness?
So it's like, आपने dieting plan तो ले लिया या आपने वो fitness club तो join कर लिया. But जो discipline चाहिए था throughout the journey, even when you're feeling bad, even when you're not liking what you're eating, even when your temptations are telling you कि boss अब तो खाना ही है. लेकिन अगर आपने उसको कंट्रोल नहीं कर पाए और अगर आप डिसिप्लिन के साथ नहीं चले तो आपका वेट कम नहीं होगा, आपकी फिटनेस गोल अचीव नहीं होगा. स्टॉक मार्केट के बाद साथ भी यही सीन है. और उसके बाद अगर आपका फिटनेस गोल अचीव नहीं हुआ तो आपने कोच को गाली दी. That is your mistake, not the fitness guy's mistake, right? The
Correct.
fitness coach mistake. So exactly it is the case with stock markets too. अगर आप फाइनेंशियल डिसिप्लिन नहीं रख सकते इस पर्टिकुलर मार्केट में और उसके बाद आप गाली दो मार्केट्स को, so that is not going to work. You have to maintain your discipline. When I say financial discipline, it basically means one, position sizing. Position sizing क्या होती है? That for example in a particular trade, I will not put X percentage of more than money. For me, it is about 5 to 10%, barring those ones for, for example, Black Swan events जहाँ पे मैं एक ही trade में for example अपनी 40% capital डाला था. Right? So this position sizing is very critical.
So basically not more than 5-10% of my
Overall money.
Of overall money for F&O.
Correct.
I will put in one trade.
100%.
That is like a position sizing rule.
100%. In fact, I would say that for a newbie, you should not even be putting in more than 5%. So that losses typically pinches people. Or फिर वो, there's also one more stat that 50% of Demat account users close their Demat account and they never return back to stock market within the first 6 months.
Wow.
Why this happens? Because उन लोगों ने losses initially ले लिए, financial discipline follow नहीं किया और बाद में बोला stock market गलत है. Boss, equity has been the highest returning asset class in terms of CAGR for the last 15 years in a row.
Correct.
Right? It was your financial discipline which you lost because of which you could not make money.
Not just that, even if equity is not the best performing asset class every year, some smart people can make money even when the market is not performing well. True. Because they are able to predict what's happening, right? So to make these sort of predictions, that's when you actually get into the technical analysis of these stocks, right? But now as a beginner investor, I'll be like, I also have to, do my 9 to 5 job. When do I have the time to study the charts every single day and try to predict what's going to happen in the market, right? So that's why most people are like, invest and forget, right? Because mere paas time nahi hai, right? And I don't have time to look at the charts every day. So I just want to invest and forget. And because they do that, they're like, okay, every year I'm not going to make insane amount of returns. Like during the COVID, we made great amount of returns due to which the number of Demat accounts have shot up. Now in the current year in 2025, equity is not performing that great. So the only way I can, get better returns in equity is if I actually get into, the technical analysis of it. But I don't have the time. So what is your advice?
So my advice is, think of Indian stock markets is like a spring, right? उसे आप उस spring को जितना ज़्यादा दबाओगे, वो उतना ऊपर उछल के आएगा, right? अब आप जब वो दब रहा है और उस particular time पे अगर आप panic selling कर गए, and you will not want to return into the markets unless you again start feeling the FOMO. जब वो spring वापस ऊपर जा चुका है तो वापस market से कभी पैसा नहीं बना सकते. So yes, right, like you rightly said, that you should stay invested into markets, but at the same time, it is very important that you keep on rebalancing your portfolio time to time. Of course, I understand that people do not have time between 9 to 5, right? But think of it like कि आप खाने के लिए अपना दिन में 3 बार टाइम निकालते हो, दोस्तों से मिलने के लिए और ड्रिंक्स करने के लिए आप सैटरडे संडे को आप टाइम निकालते हो, लेकिन आप अपने पोर्टफोलियो को रिव्यू करने के लिए आप 15 दिन में एक बार टाइम नहीं निकाल सकते एटलीस्ट.
It's boring. It's not as fun as going
exactly.
out. Exactly.
So make investing fun, like what we do at Univest. You can
investing
also.
is fun when I make that quick returns in money here and there. But looking at my FD returns at 6%, it's not fun, right?
So यार स्टॉक मार्केट्स की यही एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है इनफैक्ट इंडिया में. द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम इज 21 दिन में पैसा डबल हर एक करने यहाँ पे आता है. बॉस वो सिर्फ मूवीज में होता है. वो आप सिर्फ वो हेरा फेरी मूवी में जाओ, वहीं पे 21 दिन में पैसा डबल था और उसमें भी वो बिपाशा बासु जो है वो लेके चली गई थी सारा पैसा. राइट? सो डोंट थिंक ऑफ स्टॉक मार्केट्स एज अ मनी मेकिंग मशीन दैट योर मनी विल गेट डबल्ड इन 21 months or 21 days. Right? We have got calls.
So let's answer that question. What is the right amount of time frame? It's not 21 din mein paisa double. What is the realistic time for doubling money?
I would like to say it in public that please don't think कि अगर मेरा for example अगर CAGR आज 35% है, तो it is true for everyone. Right? I have been lucky. I have been fortunate. लेकिन at the same time, your idea, if you are able to generate 15 to 18% from markets every single year, it is a very, very good return. राइट? इफ यू आर अ न्यूबी, आपको 15 to 18% का अगर आप गोल लेके चलते हो स्टॉक मार्केट से, और अगर आप सिर्फ टाइमली थोड़ा बहुत रीबैलेंसिंग कर सकते हो अपने पोर्टफोलियो की, फॉर एग्जाम्पल once in every 2 months, you are like you can easily achieve 15 to 18% kind of returns from stock markets alone.
Okay, let me repeat that. To generate 15 to 18% returns annually, you need to have the discipline to rebalance your portfolio at least once every 2 months.
Correct.
And your rebalancing, how do we do it? Can you give an example?
Okay. For example, very quick thing. Recently, there are a lot of, again, I will not name the companies, but lot of companies, the valuations of the companies actually went pretty crazy in the defense sector because government was pushing defense sector like anything in 2024.
Correct.
There was a lot of budget allocation for defense sector. If you look at in 2024, 2023, India will be the in-house manufacturer, we'll be the global exporters and blah, 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 blah. The valuations went crazy, like they were trading at almost 100 multiples, 80 multiples, 60 multiples.
Yeah.
Those kind of multiples the companies were trading at. At that point in time, a lot of people, retail investors started participating. But unfortunately, these valuations are not sustainable. And when the news started coming in that the manufacturer or the raw material supplier to these defense companies are actually delaying the raw materials for the defense companies, the stock started taking a hit like anything. And at the same time, when the government policies, when again the budget was announced, the defense sector allocation was not as high as what people were thinking. At that point in time, if you are already invested in defense sector stocks, then at that point in time, maybe you should take a move and not wait for the next 1 year that it will fetch me return. The people who did not wait and after every quarter when they realized कि यार ये चीज़ अगर नहीं काम हो रही और ये वाली news already आ रही है which is going to impact the stock fundamentally, then you should take exit from that stock. There are always good opportunities in the market, or for that matter, you can diversify that money across different assets also. But take out that money instantly. And that is what I mean by portfolio rebalancing. So you should be smart enough, aware about the 5, 10, 15 companies which are there in your portfolio. Be wary of what is happening in the industry. Be wary of what the management commentary is. Be wary of how the company's financials have been performing. And take your, for that matter, every quarter, the quarterly results gets published.
Correct.
Look at the research reports, which the management commentary in the results report, which they typically publish.
Today it has become very fast. You can just put the research report on AI and it'll summarize it very quickly for you.
100%. So what analysts have to say about that particular thing, and then you take your decisive calls. But this is the kind of implementation and the discipline which one needs to definitely do if they want to really make money from stock markets.
But then my counter to that, Pranit, would be that I have invested money in a mutual fund. Isn't that the mutual fund's manager's job? Why should I be doing this?
So if you think that you are okay with 12-13% kind of CAGR, 100% yes, please go ahead. But personally, I am not okay. So so that's why I don't go ahead and invest a lot of money.
What is it that the mutual fund manager is not able to beat that 12-13% returns? Although that person has a team of 5-6 people helping him, right? And they are very experienced, have been managing thousands of crores. So why are they not able to, cross that 12-14% barrier?
So it is not that they are not able to. There are a lot of mutual funds out there in the market who have a CAGR of more than 25% also for the last 5-7 years. But at the same time, I mean, the risk profiling also gets pretty higher. Right? Even during the worst of times like what has happened in the last 7 months, the more small cap focused companies, the more small cap focused funds have actually seen their portfolios going down by 30, 35, 40% also.
Correct.
Because small cap index in itself in the last 6-7 months have dropped by almost 27%. Right. So more the risk, more the chances of better return.
And also to go one level further is that a mutual fund manager is not allowed to do derivative investments, right? With the public's money, right?
Correct.
So the only way, if you want to have exposure in derivatives, then you need to learn how to do it yourself.
Correct.
So now let's get a little bit deep dive into derivative trading, because right now we probably, gone into vanilla stock market investing. But if I go into derivatives, can you give an example of how powerful derivative trading investing is by giving an example of your own investment journey?
So again, higher the risk, higher the return, but still you can, manage your risk even in derivatives trading through hedging. Right. So for example,
just to give a small information here, derivative trading, just to make it as simple as possible, allows you to invest in a company and leverage your position, meaning you can invest more than what you have.
Correct.
Right. It's basically like taking a loan,
Correct.
take that money and invest in that particular stock. and you have invested a small amount, but your exposure is maybe multiples of that amount that you have invested.
Correct.
Right? And if you are correct, then your profit could be more than what you've invested itself.
Correct. And at the same time, losses will be more than what it could have been.
What could have been. Losses also can be more than what you've invested, due to which the investment app will actually ask you to put some money first,
Margin.
so that they can suck it out of your account in case you lose the money.
So I cannot say suck out of the account because I am a broker myself, so I will not say that. But yeah, I mean, that is the rule of the game.
That is like the bare bone explanation. I didn't want to get into what is futures, what is options, but I just wanted to give a small explanation about what exactly is this derivative investing. It's basically your way of maximizing your returns by investing money that you don't have.
करेक्ट सो इट्स लाइक जैसे शरण ने बताया कि यार 100 रुपये मेरे पास पड़े हैं, मेरे को अगर 600 रुपये की पोजीशन लेनी है तो मैं डायरेक्ट स्टॉक से नहीं ले सकता, मुझे डेरिवेटिव्स में जाना पड़ेगा. सो अगर मुझे 600 रुपये की ट्रेड लेनी है, मैंने एक फ्यूचर की लॉट ले ली उस पर्टिकुलर स्टॉक की, लेट्स से वो 4 लाख रुपए मार्जिन दे के मैंने 24 लाख रुपए की मुझे पोजीशन मिल गई.
तो आपको 6x आपको मिल गया.
करेक्ट. 5x 6x whatever that number is.
What is the highest x you can get in Indian markets?
Typically it is 5x 6x.
Okay. तो मेरे let's say if I give that example,
in futures it is 5x 6x typically.
So I have, let's say I have 1 lakh with me, but I want to invest 5 lakhs in this stock.
Correct.
But 5 lakhs नहीं है मेरे पास.
Correct.
I have only 1 lakh in my bank account. So I can leverage my position with the futures.
Yes.
And get an exposure of 5 lakhs in that stock.
Yes.
So I think I also used your app today.
Yes.
And I was just showing it to you earlier. I think I made, today I put, before coming here, I made 57.69% returns in one day.
Wow.
Right? And I had put a amount, I forgot, but the returns is so much, and I have a 2,000 rupees profit.
That's correct.
Right? And I didn't do anything. I just had to press OK.
Yes.
So which was very, very crazy for me to believe what happened. And I don't know anything about F&O trading. So, got it. So, this is the mathematics of what is happening in F&O trading. Now, give me a crazy story in your own life where you've invested in F&O and what kind of returns did you make? Because this was mine, 67% in one day with your help. But you tell me your story.
So I think, I mean, again, it's not a suggestion or a financial advice to any of the viewers. I am not even recommending you to try this without even learning it. It's a very typical stunt, right? Like what the disclaimers are always attached. So on weekly expiry days, typically a lot of times it happens that there's a lot of volatility at the end, right? Especially in that last 1 to 1.5 hours, right?
Usually the market is very volatile in the morning and in the closing hours and before 3 o'clock, 3:30, right?
Correct.
So that's how it usually operates.
Correct. So there was one of the weekly expiries when the markets were booming like anything, and it was like 2.5% up in a single day. Nifty was booming like anything, and it was moving very up. Suddenly the news came in that on their energy resources, Russia is going to attack on the Ukraine's energy resources, which is going to be a very, very global turmoil, right? And this would lead to crude oil prices going up like anything, which basically means the supply chain costs are going to go up for the companies and so on and so forth, and it is going to impact the markets like anything.
Correct.
And it was seeming like as if it's not going to end. That was one of the first few news which was coming at that point in time. And I wanted to capitalize on that. So it was I remember there was a put option which I bought off Nifty at that particular point in time. I think it was hardly 5 or 6 rupees which I bought it at. And I hardly invested 50,000-60,000 rupees at that point in time.
Okay.
And within the last 1 hour, I think that 5-6 rupees put option that went on to become about 400 or 370 rupees. 370 to 270. This is like 1 day kind of a story. But then again,
wait, you put 50,000 rupees.
Yes.
And what is the return percentage on this?
So
I'm not able to do the math.
So yeah, I mean that 5 rupees almost became 75x within the next 1 hour. So
50,000 into 75, कितना होता है? 1.25 crores.
So मतलब not 1.25 crores, but about 37.5 lakhs. So
50,000 became 37.5 lakhs in one day.
in one day, but at the same time, I would say that there have been calls where I've been wrong as well. So since you're
Okay.
only asking the good calls, so I was telling that, but it doesn't mean that I have
No,
not
I still
lost
have to
money in
digest
option
that.
trading.
50,000 rupees becoming 37.5 lakh rupees in one day. Okay. Now, yes, please tell the bad story. now, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is not like a very regular sort of a thing.
What is tell me an example of give me an example where you lost money.
So
that
for
people are
example,
also-
from losing money perspective, I strictly put a stop loss. Like for example, trading stop losses I typically do, right? So for example, I will not book the profit like 100% at और for that matter losses में ऐसे कंट्रोल करके चलता हूँ कि यार 100 रुपए की चीज़ है, मैंने 20% नीचे का स्टॉप लॉस रखा हुआ है, टारगेट्स मेरा 2:1 पे ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल मेरा टारगेट है 40 रुपीज़ यहाँ से कमाने का, लॉस मेरा 20 रुपीज़ पे मैंने रिस्ट्रिक्ट किया हुआ है. अगर 20 रुपीज़ मान लो कॉल जो है मेरी, अगर मैंने 100 रुपये पे खरीदी है वो 120 हो गई, तो मेरा नेक्स्ट मैंने 50% प्रॉफिट बुक किया, 50% मैंने नेक्स्ट के लिए छोड़ा हुआ, मेरा ट्रेलिंग स्टॉप लॉस ऑफ 100 रुपीज़ हो गया, विच इज़ माई कॉस्ट.
Got it.
And then from 120 rupees, if it moves up, reaches to 140, I will book another 25% if the market is doing really well. And my stop loss for the balance 25% left is now 120 rupees. So that is how
stop
I
loss
kind
amount
of...
is also going up.
Yes, so it's a trailing stop loss move which I am doing. In most of the cases, in I would say 9 or maybe in fact 9.5 out of 10 cases, I typically hedge my
वो क्या होता है? What is hedging?
हेजिंग इज बेसिकली कि आपने लेट्स से आप डायरेक्शन निफ्टी की सोच के बैठे हो कि यार इट विल मूव अप, राइट? यू आर वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट, ऑल योर डेटा इज सजेस्टिंग, ऑल योर गामास एंड ऑल द फैक्टर्स, एवरीथिंग इज सजेस्टिंग दैट निफ्टी इज गोइंग टू मूव अप, बट एट द सेम टाइम यू आर नॉट aware about certain uncontrollables which are there out of your hands. So at that point in time, what you typically do is, let's say if you're currently कॉल ऑप्शन मैंने कोई खरीदा हुआ है, तो मैं उसे पुट ऑप्शन एक और बाय कर लूंगा विच इज मोर आउट ऑफ द मनी, ताकि मैं उसको एकदम से क्या होगा कि अगर मार्केट गिरता भी है.
So just to simplify it, call means you're expecting the price to go up.
Correct. If I'm buying a call, that means I'm expecting the markets to move up.
Put is where you are betting against yourself that it will go down as well.
Correct. So if I'm buying a put, तो मैं वहां पे बेट कर रहा हूं कि मार्केट नीचे गिरेगी.
Okay. So on one end you're betting that it will go up.
Correct.
And on the other end you're also betting that it will go down.
Yes.
But this betting that you're going down is a fraction of this.
Exactly.
So that way you're covering your overall losses.
Correct. So मैंने वहां पे अपनी पोजीशन को hedge कर दिया. So अगर मेरा लॉस फॉर एग्जांपल 20% का होना था, मे बी सिर्फ वो 5 या 7% पे रिस्ट्रिक्ट हो गया, राइट? एंड टिपिकली ऑप्शन सेलर्स आर द वंस हु मेक मोर मनी इन द मार्केट्स. दैट इज वेरी वेरी क्रिटिकल टू नो, राइट?
Basically people who are expecting that the markets will go down.
No. So option sellers, it basically means अगर मुझे फॉर एग्जांपल 22,500 की निफ्टी आज खरीदनी है, तो उसका जो भी स्ट्राइक प्राइस पे अगर मैं खरीदने जाऊंगा, तो मे बी मुझे उसके लिए मार्जिन मनी सबमिट करना पड़ेगा 10,000 रुपये या 5,000 रुपये या 8,000 रुपये, वॉट एवर दैट मनी इज कमिंग राइट नाउ. आई हैवंट चेक्ड इट ऑन द ऐप. बट अगर मुझे वही 22,500 की कॉल बेचनी है, सो आई विल हैव टू डिप्लॉय 1 लाख रुपीज. As I will have to put 1 lakh rupees as the security amount as the margin to my broker. So इसीलिए it is always seen that the probability in option selling is about probability of winning is almost 66%.
Wow. Okay.
So expect क्या किया जाता है कि जितने भी रिटेल इन्वेस्टर्स हैं इंडिया में, वो लोग ऑप्शन बाइंग करके चलते हैं.
Because they don't have the margin to.
Exactly. And the bigger players out there in the market are the ones who are option sellers. So probability factor already उनके फेवर में प्ले कर रहा है. Why? Because for example इंडिया का विक्स यानी कि वोलाटिलिटी इंडेक्स अगर 17 या 18 पे ट्रेड कर रहा है, that means higher the VIX, the higher is the premium of any particular call or put, right? So अगर for example मैंने जितनी ज्यादा वोलाटिलिटी मार्केट्स में होंगी,
वोलाटिलिटी मींस ऊपर नीचे जितना ज्यादा होता है,
साइडवेज मार्केट नहीं है, वोलाटिलिटी बहुत ज्यादा है, मार्केट्स में गिर रही हैं, स्पेशली अगर नेगेटिव साइड पे ज्यादा सेंटिमेंट है, तो विक्स उतना ज्यादा हायर साइड पे होगा. सो अगर विक्स आपका हायर साइड पे है और उस टाइम पे आपको प्रीमियम ज्यादा देने पड़ते हैं कोई भी कॉल या पुट खरीदने के लिए. नाउ लेट्स से
प्रीमियम्स क्या होता है?
प्रीमियम फॉर एग्जांपल आज की डेट में मुझे अगर 100 रुपये, मैंने 22,800 निफ्टी चल रही है और मैंने 22,900 का मुझे कोई कॉल ऑप्शन बाय करना है. सो लेट्स से वो डिफरेंशियल है 100 रुपीज का, बट मुझे उसको 100 रुपीज को बाय करने के लिए 123 रुपीज पे करने पड़े हैं. दैट एक्स्ट्रा 23 रुपीज इज दैट प्रीमियम.
Okay.
So this 23 rupees, अगर VIX कम है, so it can be as low as 10 rupees, 8 rupees, 12 rupees, right? But at the same time, अगर VIX बहुत ज़्यादा high है, so this can go up to 30 rupees, 40 rupees, 35 rupees, whatever. Now, premiums मिलते किसको हैं? Option sellers को.
तो ऑलरेडी वो लोग प्रॉफिट कर दे उधर.
सो अगर वोलाटिलिटी इंडेक्स गिरने लग गया, निफ्टी आपकी डायरेक्शन में ट्रेड नहीं कर रही है, सो ऑप्शन सेलर, इवन इफ देयर इज अ साइडवेज मार्केट, तब भी ऑप्शन सेलर प्रॉफिट में जाता है बिकॉज प्रीमियम उसको मिलने लगता है.
So he immediately, the option seller immediately makes the money because they're selling it at a premium.
Correct.
Whereas the option buyer is already immediately sitting at a loss.
करेक्ट, एग्जैक्टली. सो ऑप्शन बायर के पास हर समय आपको लॉस, वहां पे प्रोबेबिलिटी, आपने 22,500 पे निफ्टी की कॉल खरीदी, बाय द एंड ऑफ द डे अगर आपका 22,500 भी निफ्टी रह गया और आपने कॉल बाय करी हुई है,
You are at a loss.
You are at already a loss. And the
You have to beat your premium to make the profit.
Exactly.
And if the volatility is too high, the premium is very high.
Correct.
So it becomes even difficult to
Even difficult for an option buyer to make money at that point in time.
But the option seller makes money even if the market has moved sideways or if the market has
moved in the direction in which the option seller was predicting.
Very interesting. I know this went very, very technical and detailed, but I think I will, in terms of going deeper, we will stop over here in terms of going more technical.
100%.
But very interesting to get a bird's eye view about what is happening in this F&O segment and the difference between an option seller and an option buyer. So basically what we are saying is people who have money, right, who can put in that 1.5 lakh, 2 lakhs upfront to sell an option, has a 66% chance of making money because of the fact that they can afford to sort of sell that
Correct.
option in the first place.
Correct. And
So
hedge it with an option buy, where you sell the option and at the same time you buy another option of much lower price
To hedge your risk.
To hedge your risk so that your losses are restricted.
So this is what professional traders do.
100%.
This is a full-time job for them.
And this is exactly what we do at Univest also.
Can this be done by somebody who is also having a 9 to 5 job doing all of this?
Yes, one can do that.
You did that.
Yes. Yes, so I have done that.
But how many hours does it take to do this daily? Because
So yeah, see, my funda was very, very simple. I had to control my greed. The problem with most of the F&O traders in the market is that they are not able to control their greed. What happens today
it's like a drug. No, money is like a drug.
Correct. So, for example, I start today, I invest 100 rupees, I earn 20 rupees and I feel like यार एक दिन में 20 रुपए आ गया, मैं तो मतलब जॉब छोड़ के राजा बन सकता हूँ. And suddenly what happens is in the next trade, he puts in 500 rupees. फिर 500 पे उसने 100 rupees कमा लिए. He is like very happy. अब तो मैंने उधार भी ले लूंगा, अब तो मैं शरण के पास जाऊंगा and I'll take 10,000 rupees and I'll give शरण कि यार एक दिन में I'll give you 1,000 rupees. In a lieu of hope that बॉस मैं शरण से जब 10,000 rupees लूंगा तो मैं 2,000 कमाऊंगा और शरण को 1,000 दूंगा. Right? But what happens next is boom. The 10,000 rupees went to zero.
Zero भी हो सकता है?
हो सकता है, क्यों नहीं हो सकता? Why not? Like on an expiry day, the premiums have to go to zero. All the call options price will go to zero.
So then I will send the gundas to that person.
Exactly. So that's what you will have to do to recover your money. But yeah, I mean, that's what happens, right? So I typically position size every single trade. I will not fall for greed. I mean, at the end of the day, we are humans. So there can be a few instances that yes, I will try and despite controlling my greed, I may want to go much higher. But at that point in time, I try to ask myself कि बॉस तूने वो 4 लाख का जो लॉस दिया था ना उस ट्रेड में, वो भूल मत. So I recall those days and I say कि no, जितना सोचा है उतना ही डालो.
So basically you have to document everything also to sort of seeing where have you gone wrong and all of that and learn from yourself.
Yeah.
Cool. So now that we've gotten an overview about this complicated world of F&O, now tell me how Univest has made it simpler for people like me who have no idea about how to get started, right? And I've just seen the statistics. I did some research before you came. I think you guys have almost 4 million registered users, 4 million registered users.
That's correct.
And you guys have also raised like $10 million, if I'm not wrong, right? So more than like 100 crores, you guys have raised money from investors as well, correct?
So till date, we have raised about 17 million so far.
So more than like almost 200 crores you guys have raised money, right?
141.
And this has just been a journey of 3 years.
That's correct.
Right? I also started, finance with Sharan about 3.5 years back, right? So it's very, very incredible to see that, you've done so much in such a short period of time. And I also saw that last year you guys have what, 80x your revenues? I mean, 80 times you guys grown your revenues. Is that also correct?
So we went from 72 lakhs to 20 odd crores last year. I mean, this is 23-24. In 24-25, again, we have grown multiple X. We'll be releasing our
What,
books
72
soon.
lakhs was your annual revenue?
In 22-23, our annual revenue was only 72 lakhs.
Okay.
In 23-24, our annual revenue was around 20 CRs. In
Okay.
24-25, our annual revenue is going to be somewhere around 80 odd CRs.
Wow. So this is like a fast growing company, super fast growing company.
So yeah, I mean, God has been kind to us.
So what do you guys exactly do? Like, how are you guys able to, have 4 million customers on your app and growing at such a fast pace? You're doing something, which nobody has thought of in this country. So can you tell me what exactly are you guys doing, which has made you guys grow so fast?
So see, what we realized, the biggest problem in the markets was that quality research was not affordable was not available to users at an affordable price.
Correct. Can you give an example of how expensive quality research was before you guys came in?
Okay, so I will not be able to name again some of the people, but yes, there are people, in fact, who come on TV channels as well, and they have their own research advisory firms, and they are very, very well respected folks. They charge about 1.5 lakhs for a quarter. There are people who charge 20,000 to 30,000 rupees for a quarter is a very common and a nominal norm. What we have brought down to is less than 4 rupees a day.
Wow.
One can actually get access to
I like
some
the
of
way
the
you
most...
market. 4 rupees per day. There you said quarter, idhar apne per day bol diya. I know the strategy, but yeah, continue.
Yeah, so yes, someone can actually come and buy the subscription plans at less than 4 rupees per day as well. And they can invest in themselves, which is basically less than a fraction of a cost of a cigarette too. एक तरफ आपकी health जा रही है, दूसरी तरफ आपकी wealth बन रही है.
No, but how are you guys so good with the research? Like, what is your secret sauce? Like, I know, of course, you are a professional trader yourself, but maybe you can give me some insights as to who's your research team, kitna bada hai,
Sure.
and are you guys using some AI or some technology into this to sort of make it even better?
Sure. So, yes, like you rightly said, it's a combination of both machine learning algorithms and human intelligence. I genuinely feel that future of stock market investing, the future of research is not going to be only led by algos, and not going to be only led by human intelligence only, but it's going to be a marriage of both of the two. Like, for example, how? There are about 7,000 odd stocks listed on BSE, 2,500 stocks which are listed on NSE. It is impossible for any research firm to track all these 7,000 folks, 7,000 stocks, unless you have like an army of research team.
Yeah.
What we did was, by looking at the parsing of the entire data which is available in the public information, the public domain, we have built our own parsers जो identify करके instantly within fraction of seconds आपको ये बता देते हैं कि yes or no. For example, results were better than estimates or not. What are the analysts saying about it? What is the management commentary saying about it?
So who is your CTO? What is his background?
So our CTO is Mr. Vikas Agarwal. He is ex-CTO of one of the London-based AI analytics company. 20 years experience into this domain. So we have a very strong team of data scientists and PhD holders who are basically helping us build these kind of algorithms.
Interesting.
Right, along with tech. So
very smart people are on this.
So they are smart people. And let's say you are...
IIT and all, they would have a 99.9 percentile CAD kind of people.
So I mean, they are smart folks. Yes, this validation has helped us in kind of getting the good folks on board, but there are a few people who are non-IITians as well, and they are doing a wonderful job in the company.
Got it. So continue that process after that.
Sure. So let's say अगर आपके पास अब ये 10 stocks आ गए, इन 10 stocks में आपको tech screening हो गई पूरी. अब ये 10 stocks के ऊपर, for example, there are a few metal stocks, and suddenly, hypothetically assume that US, Mr. Trump, the tariff Trump guy, he suddenly says that China पे मैं 25% tariffs मार दूंगा, जिसकी वजह से there is a projection that China की demand for metals कम हो जाएगी. Why? Because China is one of the biggest exporters and the consumer of both metals across the world. They are the 37% consumers. Like 37% of the world consumption is happening in China, for example, aluminium. Right? So अगर tariffs पड़ेंगे और अगर वो एल्यूमिनियम इंटरनल कंजम्पशन तो ठीक है वो चलती रहेगी, लेकिन अगर एक्सपोर्ट्स नहीं होंगे, सो मेटल की सप्लाई पड़ी हुई है, बट डिमांड सप्लाई पड़ी हुई है लेकिन डिमांड कम हो गई तो मेटल के प्राइसेस डाउन जाएंगे. हमारे 10 स्टॉक्स जो लिस्ट आई टेक के थ्रू, वहां पे अगर एक मेटल स्टॉक भी है और मेटल के प्राइसेस डाउन जाएंगे तो इंडिया की भी ओवरऑल मेटल प्राइसेस इंपैक्ट होंगे. सो हमारी वो ह्यूमन इंटेलिजेंस टीम जो है वो आइडेंटिफाई करके बताएगी कि यार नहीं, ये वाला स्टॉक नहीं देना चाहिए. So more than process of selection, it is the process of removing the bad things. And then finally you drop down to 1, 2 or 3 and then we finally give it to the consumer. So it's not a very easy process that a consumer can do it himself. Of course one can do that, but it needs a lot of time to be invested. Imagine you are sitting in 9 to 5 like you were also working today, right?
Yeah.
And you yourself said कि अभी आपने, I think you invested in one of the stock strategies where you earned 57% within the day. Again, it's not every day that you're going to make it. I am being very, very clear. But let's say आपके पास आपने कितना time invest किया था? I will ask you.
On that?
On that.
Like 5 seconds.
5 seconds, right? Because आपके लिए वो already research, screening, shortlisting एक intelligent team और technology systems ने करके दी है. So आपको कुछ नहीं करना था. You trust that person. You trust that platform, which is SEBI registered. And if you trust us, if you are following the basic disciplines, you do not get greedy कि next time ये जितने पैसे डाले थे उसके अब 10x कर दो.
हाँ, that is the mistake. मतलब हाँ, इधर मैंने 60% कर दिया, कल मैं 10 लाख डाल दूंगा.
ये मत करना, क्योंकि उसमें लॉस हो गया.
हाँ, फिर मैं कभी वापस नहीं.
फिर कभी वापस नहीं आओगे.
तो पोजीशन साइजिंग बहुत मैटर
करती है. आप कभी भी पोजीशन साइजिंग अपने रिस्क के अकॉर्डिंग रखो, लेकिन एट द सेम टाइम ग्रीडी मत बनो.
बहुत हार्ड. Fantastic. Cool, Pranit. Now I have 5 fun rapid fire questions for you to end this off.
Okay.
First question is, if you wake up tomorrow and all your trading accounts were wiped out, how would you make your first lakh back?
I would say that I will go to Sharan, ask for some money, and basis my experience, I am sure he will give me some money and I will make that money out of it. I mean, on jokes apart, but I think advisory is something which is very core to my heart, and I understand trading. So I would say that I will stick to my business.
Right.
Keep on providing those services which I'm providing today, and I'm sure I'll...
Basically, like you're a predictor. Like you can offer it as a service. You will first offer fixed fee, and then using that money, you will again invest it yourself. Fantastic. Second question is, which stock do you regret selling the most?
I think it's going to be Cochin Shipyard, although now it is again coming back to the decent levels. But, I earned, I think 8-10% in couple of trades, and I was looking at it more from the swing trading perspective.
I sold it recently. I sold it at 30% loss.
So probably you have done a mistake, but it's not an advice again. I booked 8-10% couple of times and did not think it from a long-term perspective. And at 300-350, I ended up my entire journey with Cochin Shipyard.
Okay.
And it went up to $2,800. Okay. And now I think it is again back to 1,400-1,500 levels, if I'm not wrong.
Interesting. Okay. Now, if you had to be stuck in an elevator with one of these two investors, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, if he were alive, or Warren Buffett, who would you choose and why?
I would of course, I have deepest respect for both of them, and they are the wizards of their own industry, but I would still choose Rakesh Jhunjhunwala because of the great mix of a trader and a long-term investor, which he had those kind of traits in himself. I mean, it is a very well-known fact that he used the trading for accumulating the money for the investing purposes. And that is something which I also do. So I put in some money for trading account where I do trade, take that money, take the profits out for investing purpose for long term. So that's how I balance my trades. And I think my investment style, definitely is inspired by Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. So that's
fantastic. The fourth one is, what's the most jugadu thing you ever done to make money?
That I cannot tell it on the camera. But
is it illegal?
No. No, so I think I wanted to drink Blue Label, I'll be very honest. But while I was in
30,000 rupees का bottle आता है.
Yeah, वो so मेरा MDI के दिनों का टाइम है, and मुझे Blue Label अपने दोस्तों को ट्रीट में देनी थी और खुद का भी मन था. So what I did was I went to Career Launcher, Time and IMS. These are the 3 main institutes which are very near to my college. So I went there and I said that if there is any coaching class जहाँ पे मैं problem solving classes होती हैं, मैं आपकी वो solve कर सकता हूँ क्या, मैं join कर सकता हूँ. So मेरा exam था Tuesday को, and between Saturday and Sunday I took almost 9 classes, 3 each, just to get the money. And yes, I was getting decent money. So मैंने Blue Label almost वहाँ पे खरीद ली थी. And फिर so that was one
just to treat your friends.
Just to treat my friends.
Wow, amazing.
Blue Label हम लोगों ने पीनी है, so कैसे करें, coaching पढ़ा के, because I had a decent percentile to back my credentials at that time.
And how was it? Smooth. It was very smooth.
Of course.
All right. Last one is, be honest.
Yeah.
How much of your portfolio is in F&O right now?
I don't carry overnight positions. So my strategy is like 97-98%. I do not carry my overnight positions. If you ask me today, like today, I would have definitely not done that, because during market hours I'm sitting with you.
So you've not invested today?
100%.
So sitting here has costed you money?
100%.
Opportunity cost.
No, I mean, doesn't matter, but it's an opportunity that I am sitting with you and doing this podcast.
It's a privilege. So कल आप कितने डालोगे फिर?
It depends on the kind of market it is.
On an average, how much do you put?
I mean, depends. I mean, if I have time, I put in like 5 to 7 lakhs. If I do not have time, and if I am clear about the movement of the markets today, whether it's sideways, then I will just deploy 1 lakh to 2 lakh rupees in that particular strategy and just keep on waiting. So I mean, but 97-98% of my trades, I do not carry it overnight.
Got it. Perfect, Pranit. I think this was a fantastic conversation.
Thank you.
Very difficult topic like F&O trading, which is both feared and loved at the same time, I think has been simplified today to a certain extent. And it was very insightful to especially hear about your own personal experiences, about your best trades and your worst trades, and very exciting for the future ahead about what you're building at Univest. I think it's a true disruption in the Indian market. For the first time ever, retail investors will be able to get high quality research when investing in the markets from a registered advisor like you. So thank you so much for coming today, for taking out your time, coming here to Delhi. And I hope we will keep meeting and figuring out probably new partnerships, between the 1% Club and Univest anytime in the future.
Thank you. It's been an honor.
All right. Thank you so much, guys, for watching till the end. And if you have any questions, please drop it in the comment section. My team or even Pranit's team would love to reply to any questions that you have. And yeah, until then, I'll see you in the next one.